Alright, so for today, welcome back to Right on the Edge. This is Derek, and for today, there's my mess. A lot of it. But I figured I would show you guys how to make French bread. And it's not the way everybody does it, of course. Everybody has their own methods. I mean, there's a lot of wrong ways to do it, but there's no real right way to do it. But anyway, I'll show you mine. So essentially, what you need is 5 to 6 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of oil, 2 1/4 teaspoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 5 cups of flour, and so 5 cups of flour. But there's only 3 in there right now because you should only start with 3 because you need to mix it together. Mixing all 5 is, yeah, I don't know, it's just a lot harder, right? So that's why I have this bag of flour here. Nearly forgot. So now you're gonna see a jump. But what makes bread? Yeast. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the sugar, right? Boom. Put it into the water. And because I obviously didn't prepare for this, a little whisk. Whisk it all up so it's nice. And mix. And then for this particular recipe, we're going to use approximately 2 tablespoons worth of yeast. And I know you're like, ah, these are teaspoons. You're right, but because I'm eyeballing it, alright, mix that up with the warm water just a little bit, get that process going, and then I'm going to put the salt and the oil over here. Alright, close that back up. Yep, there's my bottle of mead. You know, for when this is successful. Then what I'm going to do is pour this right in here. Right like so. Until it's almost all in there. And then I'm going to pause while mixing magic happens. Mainly because, you know, I don't have nobody holding this camera. It's just me. Alright, once you mix it up till it looks about something like this, this is when you're going to add the last 3 cups of flour. But what I would recommend, especially if you're new to baking, is that you do this 1 cup at a time, like so. And obviously it can just be estimated, right? If you're a little bit off, you just add a little bit more water or a little bit more flour if it's too wet at the end of it. So without further ado, mixing magic's gonna happen again. Alright, and now what you see has happened is that I've made a mess of the table, but mainly by flouring it, and then whatever was left I need to be mixed back in with the dough. And now I'm going to start kneading the dough. Now, I am not an expert dough kneader, or kneader, which is fine, but I like to do it until it's smooth and everything's kind of mixed together. So, while I do that, I'm going to pause again. Alright, now we're back. Due to movie magic, no time at all has passed for you. So what do we do now? Well, I like to let this rise for a minimum of 1 hour to maximum of 2. I kind of overworked the dough a little bit, that's why it's a little bit patched there. But once it rises, that's going to be smooth as can be, you'll see. So we're going to let it rise for about 2 hours while I do cleanup on this, you know, this disaster area that I call my table at the moment. Yep, and if you overwork it, where if it's like tearing or it's a little bit dry, what I like to do is put just a little bit of olive oil over the top of it with a brush, and it fixes the problem. Alright, and see you in an hour. Oh, I turned it back on just for a second to mention. Put it into a warm spot. It's summer right now, so that's pretty much everywhere. But I have like little air holes on the side here, so I didn't fully cover it plastic wrap. The plastic wrap's just to keep like extra heat in, and so it'll be sitting here in like this nice warm spot for the hour. All right. Going to flour the tabletop, right? And this is what I meant. Like boom, like rows. Look at that. It's a big old ball of dough. And I'm just gonna flop it out. Boop. And boom. You like that? And then what I like to do is I'm just gonna flatten it out a bit. Oh yeah, this is like the perfect doughy texture. So we're gonna go like this first. And then, hey Appa, hey Luna, you guys are making a cameo. Alright. So what you do after that is you chop it into approximately 2 equal pieces, like so. And you flatten it out, like so. Right? Now, let's see if I can get a good shot of this. Help me, Mead. Okay. Well, I'll put it right here. Put right there. That way you guys can see. And then you're going to do what's called, well, making it into like a canoe shape. So what you do is you take this side, and then you just kind of, we're just like pinching it, pinching it together, more or less. And obviously that looks like very ugly, but it doesn't, and you know, it doesn't have to be pretty, really. As long as we're pinching it together. And I'll show you what these look like afterwards from above too. But here we are, pinching, pinching, pinching. And then to finish the canoe shape, right, we take the end and we're pinching it like so. There we go. Alright. Same with this one. Alright, so more or less canoe shaped like that, you know? And then what I do is I flip these over. So I go like that. Yeah. Flipping them over. Now I need to get pan. Right. There we go. So now they look like that. And I'm going to pause real fast so that I can preheat the oven. So, see you in a bit. And these have the second rise. So after you do this, they have to rise again for like 30 minutes. I forgot to mention before, there's two things that are going to set this apart. One is an egg wash. So what you do is you batter an egg so it looks like that, and then you brush the egg over your bread like that. Alright, now that the loaves have risen a bit, about double what they were when they put them on the pan, I heat up the oven to 350, and then I put these guys right in here, whoop, on the top shelf like that. So, and then there's one other thing you should do, I think, if you like fluffy French bread like myself, which is, so you take some ice, just like a little handful, right? Open this back up, throw those at the bottom, and let it work its magic. And that is how you make fluffy French bread. So I'll pause and I'll let you guys know when it's done. I probably didn't say, but you let it cook for 35 minutes. There you go. Alright, and then what I like to do after all that, right, is clean the kitchen. I know, it's not like super clean. Oh, so I'm prepping dinner. This is a lamb leg. So I'm going to make some lamb leg stew later. But, see, clean that. Say hello to the dogs. There's the dishes I used in the show, plus a couple extra. And my pretty little Thai Constellera Montezera. And my buddy Loki, who's a big cutie. Ain't that right, Loki? Yeah. It's now time to pull out the bread out the oven. Let's see what we got. Alright. See, to me this is perfect. If you like your crust a little darker, you can put it in for like an extra 5 minutes. But for me, that's what I'm looking for right there. Heck yeah. Let me pause for a second while I take this off. Alright. Gonna get a close up of this bread real fast. I gotta look cool for 5 minutes, but once that's done, I will take a slice out of this to show you the inside. Not gonna lie though, there's some good bread. So we can see how good or not good this bread is. I do realize what I forgot to do though, oil the pan. But look at that. Pure bread pouring right there. And we're done.